Hi everyone, I'm Shantanu and I have with me Anmol.
Hey, Shantanu, you know me. Well,
Correct. And of course, secondly, the thing that we want to talk about is something I forgot as well.
hey Shantanu, we know each other, but just for the audience, let's introduce ourselves one by one.
Yes, definitely Anmol. Yeah. So I'm Shantanu. I've been working with LambdaTest as a product manager for the past 15 months now. And I'm a product enthusiast and I'm not sure if you know, but I've been a tabla player for like 15 years of my life. And I have played basketball as well for a very long duration. What about you?
So for me, it's been now I guess almost 2 years with LambdaTest. Not a tabla player, but sometimes I play a synthesizer. Maybe we can jam on that sometime.
Definitely, and I'm surprised we didn't talk about it earlier.
So moving forward, Shantanu, we are here to talk about essentially two things. And one being how do we prioritize things in a war room situation.
Secondly, something that we're going to discuss about is also managing conflicts within a cross-functional team. And I think both of these items are something that we are dealing with daily, as you mentioned.
Right. So going about prioritizing in the war rooms like situation. So what are the major challenges that you face while in a war room situation?
Correct, and I think this is very relevant. The major challenge that we face is aligning the team to a common goal.
Okay.
It's very difficult when there's a war room situation. Everything is haphazard. Everybody's thinking that we need a solution as quickly as possible, but nobody's actually going through a proper iteration of steps that need to be followed.
Okay.
And that becomes a critical point of failure, and that actually does not give good results in a war room situation.
How does one diffuse war rooms in real time, motivate teams to remain aligned, and manage personality conflicts?
Alignment of the team is with the objectives as well is very crucial. That unless everybody understands what is the problem that we're trying to solve, it never results in fruition actually. All right. So also, I think this is something that comes up every single day or every other day as well, that there is a war room situation. So how do you maybe tend to motivate the team as well to jump into a war room again and again? Because in any hyper-growth startup, I'm assuming there would be situations where daily decision making must be done, and daily situations such as these which are burning are happening as well. To ensure that the team is willing to jump back in and align with that and motivated as well to work on the same, is there something that you follow within the team, maybe a motivational speech or anything like that?
Not definitely a motivation speech, but I guess that is something in the LambdaTest DNA that keeps us motivated and keeps us pushing towards the situation, no matter what the pressure is.
Correct. I totally agree on that, and I think something that I feel also really increases the motivation is just defining how much impact that particular war room might have in the future within the team. That also ensures that everybody's aligned towards that goal and everybody's on their toes to keep working towards the solution.
Right. Talking about the impact, I believe given the scale of the problem and given the number of users we are dealing with, it automatically generates that sense of ownership as well within the team, that they don't need an extra additional motivation, outside motivation to work in that war room situation.
Let's talk more about inter-team personality differences based conflicts.
Correct, totally agree. And I think just coming back to the initial point that you discussed about how we also need to maybe manage conflicts within the team. There are a lot of personalities I think that we both face within our different team members, and it's not like they're a single team. They're also working in subpods within the team. It goes across functions, and dealing with them in a lot of situations I think becomes very critical, and it's very important for the team as well. So how do you go about that? How do you ensure that you're able to manage conflicts within the team and still get everything done in a hyper growth mode that is asked of us?
I guess in that particular perspective, it is very important for us to listen in order to actually listen and not to reply, right? Listen to understand what a particular team or particular individual or particular subgroup of your team might be bringing to the table. And obviously, like, because we have multiple members, multiple different perspectives, which might lead to some conflicts at times, but we usually follow the best solution principle, where every team member is allowed to put in their views, put in their perspectives, put in what would be the solution that they're proposing, and let the best solution win.
I think that's a great solution, but in my opinion, that's not something always followed by a lot of people. The reason for that becomes that bringing out too many perspectives actually leads to a lot of confusion, and then since the decision making needs to be done, it gets limited to a few people's perspective. Okay. And I mean, personally, I've not been able to.
I would disagree with that because what I've seen is that those kind of situations arise when you have a distributed ownership.
Okay.
What I believe is that if you're talking about ownership, the efforts for that particular item or for that particular deliverable might be distributed, but the ownership for that should be with an individual, which essentially would be your decision maker.
Correct, completely agree. And I think what the perspective that I was coming from is, in fact, managing the conflicts within the team to ensure that they're able to work together rather than finding the best solution for any problem that we're facing. So the conflict that I'm talking about here is not actually a conflict with the problem that we're dealing with, but a conflict within the team as well.
Maybe we can discuss more about this if you could elaborate with an example.
Correct. So I think within cross functions itself, let's just talk about the functions itself. On a daily basis, we deal with developers, we deal with QAs, we deal with DevOps members, design team, marketing team.
Right.
And a lot of these teams are separated, but a lot of these teams have to work in conjunction with each other on a daily basis.
Right.
And I think it's not only about Lambda, it's worldwide known that individual supports also have their own differences with the way they work. And here the conflicts I'm talking about, let's take for example, let's take devs and QAs.
Okay.
There is always a conflict that maybe this is a bug that was reported by QA.
This is working on my laptop.
This is working on my laptop, and that is the starting of a conflict, which could lead to something bigger as well, depending on individual traits that the person might have.
Right.
So I'm talking about those aspects as well.
So in terms of those kind of conflicts, and just to summarize, you're talking about within team conflicts. Not conflicts with the problem. In those kind of conflicts, what I usually recommend is a two-step process. One, you have smaller milestones, where let's say if you're just elaborating on your case, where you have a developer maybe collaborating with a QA, instead of discussing and looping in back after a day, you loop in every 2 hours, so that even if there is a conflict, or even if you sense a conflict arising, you are able to resolve it then and there, because at the end of the day, as a product owner, maybe you are the decision maker at that particular time. Secondly, let's say if you feel that okay, something has already gone wrong, and something, let's say a delay has already happened, instead of having a verbal conversation, instead of asking the reasons verbally, what I usually do is I tell the developer or that particular team member to write 3 pointers on why it was delayed. Now that particular thing acts 2 ways. One, it helps them also to understand, and them also to contemplate that okay, what happened and how to avoid it in future. And also, while they are writing, it also makes them understand that how this could have been avoided. That is what I follow.
Correct, and I think that could be a great solution. That is something that I think we have discussed sometime in the past as well. But honestly, I have not been able to follow that. But I'm going to take you up on that approach going forward. Sure.
As a product leader, how do you ensure your own growth and productivity?
Okay, so talking about leadership, what principles, let's say, you follow for maybe your own growth as a product leader?
Correct, and I think that's a very, very good question. Okay, I'm going to take a minute to think about it, but I'm going to think out loud as well here. And I think what I try to do is that I need to ensure that the first principle that I'm following is understanding customer empathy and understanding their perspective, their personas, who the customer are. Unless I'm able to get into their shoes, I'll never be able to develop a product for them, right? And the second part is very crucial, which thankfully my family has instilled in me, is the listening part, which you're talking about, to ensure that it's not only about replying back, it's not about answering whether it's right or it's not even about right or wrong. It's just about ability to grasp as much perspective as you can to actually enhance your own thinking as to how you're able to find solutions, or maybe not even find solutions, just understand the problem even better. And I think if you're understanding the problem in the best way possible, you have covered all the aspects, then the solution will be right in front of you.
How does one effectively manage their allocated tasks and ensure timely delivery and productivity?
So just a quick question: that what is your favorite productivity hack? I mean, dealing with multiple items every single day. What do you do?
Yep. For that, I do time boxing. I'm not sure whether you're aware of what that is. Just for the audience, you take your items, you allocate a specific set of duration for that particular item, and then you get it done within that duration, and you keep your phone aside during that duration. That is what I usually do, and I usually have the time boxed activities on my calendar so that I have a plan for my day and the week.
Nice. I have tried that a few times, but have failed. Maybe I can take some tips from you later on as to how we can ensure to manage that. But yes, definitely.
How does one effectively help in rolling out team bonding activities?
Just again, a quick question to you, Shantanu. What are the 3 activities that you do for team bonding?
All right. I think that's a point that I think every team individually takes up on. For me, Anmol, I feel that one activity that I tend to do every couple of weeks at least is just having the entire team have either one meal together. I mean, as many people as possible. And it could be a pizza party, it could be anything, but it's just ensuring that everybody is just enjoying those 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of time, even if they're not talking to each other, but they're bonding on food. Apart from that, I think another important aspect is within the team to ensure that if there is anything that is going wrong, that you talk about it. You come together, you talk about it, you discuss on that, and then you move forward rather than keeping it to yourself and not talking about it. That leads to huge conflicts which are not even visible to the team or to anyone. Okay. And I think third item is something which everybody enjoys, which is just going out for an outing, leaving your work aside for a few minutes or a few hours, and then just ensuring that you are enjoying out in the sun.
Cool. I guess that was it from our side. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you next time.